Hello, welcome to Postcolonial Space. I'm Masood Raja, and this is again in my series of brief video logs, which I hope to start posting more frequently, and hopefully is allowed to be used like this according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, okay? But my hope is to do it every day, but at least more frequently. So today I just want to talk generally about how to build professional relationships. What I've noticed through my interactions with a lot of people is that most people have a very transactional view of contacting others or building relationships. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is simply that they need something from you or you need something from someone. You reach out to them, and ask them for their help or whatever you need. And then after that, it's, you forget about them. Now, obviously, ethically and professionally, that is not the right approach, because if your approach is transactional, the other person will find out, right? And then eventually, the next time when you need their help and support, they'll probably be reluctant to be part of any enterprise that you suggest to them. Instead, I would always recommend to build a sincere long-term relationship with anyone. But let's say if it's a scholar in your field, right? You know them through Facebook, WhatsApp, or LinkedIn, right? Get to know them, get to know their work, right? And bring it to a point where, you can reach out to them and say, I am putting together this conference. Would you be interested in more details about it? Because we would love to have you, right? And when you reach out to them, show that you are interested in their work and you're not just interested in their name on your conference. And that way, down the road, if you're putting together a book or putting together a volume, you will still be able to count on them because you built a relationship. Other ways you build relationships long-term is by actually engaging with the works of scholars, right? Reading it carefully, incorporating it in your work. And then if you get in touch with them, you have a frame of reference. You can talk to them and say, I read this book of yours. I cited it in my dissertation. I have some questions. Would you be willing to participate? Would you be willing to elaborate? So that way the relationship isn't just a transactional relationship. It's a relationship that shows that you have read their work and you're further interested in learning together. And that could be another way of developing something deeper than a surface relationship with a scholar or a professor that you like. Now, the reason I chose this topic today is because I've seen it happening many a time. When I was I'm still an established scholar, but when I worked for a university, people would reach out to me to participate in their conferences. And sometimes it was sincere because they were actually interested in my ideas. But most of the times, I could tell that they just needed bodies. Let's say, for example, in Pakistan, to get funding for an international conference from Higher Education Commission, I think you need to have 5 international speakers, right? So some people would just reach out to me to make that number. Right? And they were not really interested in what I had to say or what my scholarship was. They just needed that number. And that relationship obviously was transactional. And at the end of the day, you kind of felt used, right? Because when as a scholar you give a talk or you talk to an audience, your hope is that they are there because, they find your ideas useful and they're interested in them, and not necessarily because someone told them to attend a meeting or a conference. So in a long run, get to know people, get to know their work, be sincere when you reach out to them, and don't, you know, rely on social media to have a conversation. I mean, social media is good to reach out to someone and say, I am so and so, and I would like to talk to you, or I would like to send you some details of our program, and then follow it through an email. And then always, after they have done what they asked them to do, stay in touch, thank them, even let them know what the audience thought, right? These are all the ways in which the person whom you asked for help or whom you asked to participate would get to know you better, and will also know that what they did for you, you appreciated it, and that you were actually interested in the content that they delivered, and not just, your presence because you needed the numbers. So these are some of my views today on this topic. Please let me know what you think. Have you had any such experiences? Have you recently reached out to someone to get their advice, or to, ask them to participate in anything scholarly that you're doing, and how their response was? And I would be really happy to, read your comments and suggestions. So that's all for today. I hope you're staying safe and taking care of each other. Be generous, be kind, change the world. That's all. I will now see you next time. Until then, as always, peace and love.